the U.S. economy into a recession in February, marking the end of the longest economic expansion on record. Let's talk about that right now with Allianz Chief Economic Advisor Mohamed El-Erian. Mohamed, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria.
Do you believe that the recession started in February?
As defined by the NBER, yes, that was the peak of the upswing. And we know that March was bad and April is going to be horrible, but already the economy is bouncing back.
So you think that the recovery has begun then? Because we did see the 2.5 million jobs in the month of May when we got the jobs number out on Friday. Do you think that that is a signal that the recovery has begun?
Yes, every short-term indicator, mobility, travel, everything is pointing to the economy picking up. What is being debated, and rightly so, is the pace of recovery. And there is the view that it's going to be a V, or there's a view it's going to be a check mark, flatter in terms of how it comes back. I think it's more of a check mark, hoping for a V, but it's going to be more of a check mark because we have to fix a lot.
So let me ask you about the Federal Reserve and what we're expecting out of this FOMC meeting. The Fed kicks off that two-day meeting today. The Fed announced yesterday significant changes to improving the lending program, Main Street lending program designed to help small and mid-sized companies. Mohamed, after the Strong's jobs report, you're out with a new op-ed on Bloomberg titled "The Job Surprise Complicates the Picture for the Federal Reserve." And you write this: when it comes to new exceptional policy announcements this week, the Fed should stay on the sidelines for now and instead focus on making the Main Street lending program operational as soon as possible. The expectations here, of course, is the language, especially any language for changes to forward guidance. We are expecting that the main message will be rates are going to be at zero for a long time. Anything else that you're expecting from the Fed these next 2 days, Mohamed?
I'm not expecting them to go further, but you should know that there are people who believe they will go further, that they will signal what's called yield curve control, which means they'll target certain yields. And there's even people who say they'll signal that they're looking seriously at negative interest rates. I think both would be a mistake, Maria. I think the Fed has done a lot, and it's time for it to go to the sideline and let this economy pick up. Anything it does more comes at the cost of sacrificing future growth and sacrificing future financial stability. So I hope they're not super active.
Yeah. What kind of growth would you expect and when? Third or fourth quarter?
So we're going to see positive growth in the third. We're going to see positive growth in the fourth. But I still think we're looking at a -5% to -8% year. And that is because this quarter is going to be particularly sharp. We locked down the economy. We brought everything to a sudden stop. Economies don't flick the switch back on. It takes time to synchronize. And remember, the rest of the world is also having its issue. So we're not going to get any help from the rest of the world. This is a pickup, but it's one that unfortunately that's going to take some time.
Mattie Duppler.
Mohamed, I think your comments about the Fed are interesting, particularly at a point where we've seen a very aggressive posture from the Federal Reserve. What do you make after the strong jobs number on Friday? Some commentary suggesting that Congress, too, should stay on the sidelines and wait and see. Do you think that that's the appropriate policy response for members of Congress and for the president, who, by all accounts, may have acted in a way with the PPP loans and the earned employee retention credit, may have acted in a way that allowed the recovery to come online sooner than we thought?
So that's a great question. I think both on the fiscal side, which is the administration and Congress, and on the monetary side, the Fed, they did a lot, and they should have done a lot. My view now is that the Fed should go back to the sideline, but the administration and Congress should evolve their policy approach and evolve it in three ways. One is focus, laser focus the relief. Go from universal relief to focusing on those who really need it and in a pro-growth manner. Second, do as much as they can to make sure that during this period of living with COVID, we can reopen in a healthy manner. And third, target the economy of tomorrow. And if we're not careful, we may end up with scars that limit productivity. So we can do things now, and I think that requires the administration and Congress to evolve their thinking, not to go to the sideline like the Fed, but evolve their thinking in the three ways I mentioned.
Here's John Hilgenrath.
Mohammed, just to follow up on that thought, it seems to me the next really big debate in Congress is what to do about state and local governments. There's $3 trillion of spending that comes out of these places. They generally have to balance their budgets. They don't have the borrowing authority that the federal government has. Where do you think, from an economic perspective, and by the way, there's also this big debate about police and how to fund police. From an economic perspective, what role should the federal government be playing with state and local governments?
So I think at this stage, and as unpopular as this may sound, you need to support state and local governments because they are going to have a lag in the recovery of their revenues. They are being asked to do lots of things. Look at the food banks here as an example. The support that they get comes from local and state government. So do it, but do it in an intelligent way and with a view to handoffs. I think the first phase of relief, John, as you know, was throw everything at it, all in, whatever it takes. The second phase has to be focused on handoffs. Yes, we're helping you now, but with a view to this, and make it much clearer what this is. And that implies a certain amount of conditionality, and I think that's important at this stage.
All right, we will leave it there. Mohammed, always great to talk with you this morning. Thank you so much, sir. We'll see you soon.